Okay, like this dude, like was in a purchase police, right? So, I think dude ran out of gas, something, whatever, whatnot. You know what I mean? Real though. Anyway, gang, when he ran up into the woods, this police officer ran right behind him, right? And like when he finally caught up with him, through like made him fall and was hitting him with the baton, and all of a sudden he just said, "I'll kill you." You know, he said, "I will kill you." Like, I don't know, or whatever, when I, Ronaldo. Anyway, Ronaldo, that was crazy as ever. The other police officer seen the dude already on the ground, and this man lifting his hands up while this man, keep on hitting him. That was crazy. That was crazy as ever. And he keep on, saying that he will kill him or whatever, whatnot. The other officer, tased this man when he was down on the ground, lifting his hands up. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy as ever. Thank goodness for the body cams, because if it wasn't body cams on, it would have been over for the brother. I'm for real. It would have been over for him. Dang, I'm serious. I'm serious as ever. It would have been over for him. I mean, like, so they was like already in the woods. It would have been carnage. It would have been over for him. He would have been cooked, for real though. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like, shoot, that's some crazy stuff. That's real crazy. You know what I'm saying? For real though. Anyway, it was this 15-year-old. He went to this college campus or whatever, and he shot this female teacher. So, and they don't want to release the footage because why? Like, it might be one of those, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? One of those, Caucasian kids or whatever, whatnot. For real though. Anyway, so yeah, I think that just doing that, for real, I don't want to even show the footage or whatever, what, really happened or whatever, whatnot. For real though. Anyway, so, yeah, I'm just it's, that's not weird, because this keep on happening. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy as ever. For real though. Other than that, this, one brother, had a shootout with the cops, but they saying he shot first, but they don't want to show the body cam footage to, so we could see who shot first. For real though. And, a lot of police officers up there shooting and stuff, or, allegedly, lost their lives or whatever, whatnot, before, this dude got, finally met his demise or whatever, whatnot. For real though, that's the crazy, gang. That's so crazy, because they don't want to even release the body cam footage or nothing like that. The only way we the only way I seen them is with the neighbor's camera. That's about it. Yeah, I mean, so that was crazy. That was crazy ever, for real. And one dude in Texas, had to shoot out with the police or whatever, whatnot. I think he was where the police needs to get out of school or whatever, so he could take her home or whatever, whatnot. For real. And I don't know why this woman called the police, because she seen this dude had a gun in a purse or whatever, whatnot. But I don't know if he was you know what I'm saying? He was just I think he was just checking it to see if it was you know what I'm saying? Some sort or whatever, whatnot. I don't know what he was doing, but the cops just started going after him. So it said he trying to say he shot first, but I don't know. I don't believe that. I do not believe that, because I obviously saw this one officer shoot this man when he thought he had a gun. This dude came out of the store and he walked past him, and the officer just assumed that he had a gun and he shot him. For real though. Although he had his phone on him the whole time, and it was crazy. It was crazy as ever. I'm like, oh my goodness. Dude, the cop up there saying, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, bro. Like, that's crazy. For real though. That's like, that's how it is. Like when he's like with these trigger happy cops. For real though. Like, dang. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy as ever. For real though. Anyway, so I'm just like, just obviously like, thinking like, what the hell? Like, bro, come on now. For real though, that's some like crazy stuff or whatever going on. Like, now, these like, I think these like individuals or whatever, these ladies, if they're like, was like up in this restaurant trying to get that refund or whatever whatnot. Although they paid for their food with a debit card or whatever whatnot. For real though. And like, they wanted cash money up in their hands or whatever. Although the money will actually be returned to the debit card. Like they ain't gonna get no like cash up in their hand. It's gonna be returned to the debit card. For real though. So they up there like, making the scene and all that, like it's crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy as ever. I'm like, oh my goodness. It was crazy. It's like returning something or whatever. I don't know what they returned or whatever, because like I didn't see nobody return anything. All I just heard was howling. That's about it. For real though, that's what's crazy. That's what's crazy as ever. And they up there like, saying like, some bull about like, somebody if they end up on YouTube or something like that. That was crazy. So yeah, that was crazy as ever. I was like, oh my goodness. For real though. All because they wanted to like return something or whatever and didn't get money back. Like, really though? Like, that's some crazy stuff. Anyway. Yeah, I'm like, just up there just thinking about it. Like, oh my goodness. Like, that's, like, crazy stuff. But anyway, that's besides the point. Now, I like, actually just like, seeing whenever I can see or whatever, whatnot. I'm up there just like, doing my thing, going like Assassin's Creed or whatever. And I'm hitting up these, like, what I'm saying? Like assassinating people like crazy. I don't know, I can like even show the the big people, like the big samurai and all that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyway, that's besides the point. Now, there's some crazy stuff. Or whatever went on. For real though. Anyway, there's like, these cops like, killed this woman. When she was like, going through like like, oh my goodness, it was crazy. She had about was going through a mental, like, crisis or something like that, you know what I'm saying? For real though. And they like, out there like, shot her up because like she had like numerous cuts on her arms and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? She went up in the bathroom and all this stuff, and they broke down the door, you know what I'm saying? And then like, it was, they said she came after the cop and Bubba the cop shot her down and she was like, deceased or whatever whatnot. That stuff was crazy. That stuff was crazy. Yeah, mental illness from, and they, like, her mother called to, like, get her some help so she could go to the hospital. But all of a sudden, like, the cops just shot her up. And I'm like, wow, it's crazy. See, the people that don't have the mental illness problem, they take it easy on it. But the people that actually have the mental illness problem, they just, like, assassinated. That's crazy. That's crazy as ever. For real though, I'm like, dang. That's like some messed up stuff. For real though, I'm like, Oh my goodness. Like, that's some crazy stuff for real though. That like mess with my head right there. I'm like, what the heck? Like, they trigger happy for real. But anyway, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hit the bell on notification so you see my next upload and my next post. And I'll make sure I make it on much more. And oh yeah, you can check out my previous videos if you like it. So long, farewell, goodbye.